All right, guys, we got to talk about Gavin Newsom. I don't know what the hell he's doing, if I'm being honest with you. He cannot stop contradicting himself when it comes to his approach for 2028. Clearly, he wants to run. Clearly, he wants to be president. And half the time, he does we need to broaden the tent and, reach across the aisle and, understand MAGA and don't be too judgmental and hold hands and sing Kumbaya and be bipartisan and negotiate. Half the time, he does that. And then the other half the time, he's like, hey, fuck these people. Ruthlessly destroy them, and we will win and do what we want. And we got no fucking time or space for any of their fucking fascist bullshit, right? So he's got both these ideas, and he keeps, depending on the day, he'll say, we'll do one or the other. He acts like there's not a contradiction at the heart of those strategy differences there, but there is. So anyway, here's Ezra Klein, and he's going to talk to him about this. Let's watch.
Let me ask you then what binds the Democratic Party together. I've been writing about the Big Tent Democratic Party, what it would mean to build that. You said it more pithily than I have, which is you said in a recent interview, you want to see a party that goes from Manchin to Mamdani. Yeah. What binds together a party that goes from Manchin to Mamdani? I hear a lot.
What binds it together is it gets nothing done. A party that goes from Manchin to Mamdani gets nothing done because you're only as good as your most conservative Democrat member who can block the entire agenda. And so that's why Joe Manchin blocked Build Back Better, which would have been transformational for the American economy. So if you say, I want a coalition from Manchin to Mamdani, you might as well say, I want a coalition of Manchin to Manchin. Because that's what will happen in terms of policy. You'll only get Manchin-level policies.
A lot of people say, isn't this Big Tent, doesn't it not believe in anything? What do you think it believes in?
Give me a break. I mean, my grandfather, we talked about a Democratic Party. It was a broad coalition.
Notice he didn't answer the question. What do you say to people who say, that party doesn't believe in anything? If you say Manchin to Mamdani, and they wildly disagree on, honestly, most issues, then what's your reaction to somebody who says, oh, you don't believe in anything if that's how big your tent is, right? Like, Gavin, here's a good way to describe it. Is your tent so big that you say, let's have Manchin to Donald Trump? No, my guess is he would say Donald Trump is beyond the pale. He's not allowed in the coalition. Okay, but that's the point, right? Is that you can't have it go from Mamdani to Trump because that's too far apart. It contradicts, it undermines itself, right? So you will get nothing done. The same point stands for Mamdani to Manchin, and he's not grappling with that. He literally didn't answer the question, and watch, he's going to continue to not answer it. Here we go.
It goes from Manchin to Mamdani. I hear a lot of people say, isn't this Big Tent, doesn't it not believe in anything? What do you think it believes in?
Give me a break. I mean, my grandfather, we talked about a Democratic Party. It was a broad coalition. My kind of party. You brought people in. It's about addition, not subtraction.
These are literally platitudes. It's about addition, not subtraction. You bring people by leading with your principles and your values and your policies. You stand for something and people come to you. Don't pander to try to get people who don't even agree with you and will never agree with you. Don't lose what your identity is about by trying to get a bunch of fucking fascist assholes on your side. This should be obvious.
I mean, come on. I mean, our party needs to be many parts, one body. And so this idea of exclusion, and again, that's judgment. That's purity. That's getting into...
Is it judgment and purity to say we don't want Trump in our coalition? Is it judgment and purity to say we don't want J.D. Vance? Is it judgment and purity to say we don't want psychotic, self-described fascist groypers? Is that psychotic? Is that purity? No, that's having standards.
I didn't like the pronoun you used. And I mean, we got in that there was a year or two there where for all of us, I mean, it's took me aback too. I was even participating. I found myself a little bit, and I got pushed back from even my own staff saying, why'd you use that word? And I'm like, we're all sort of struggling through a post-George Floyd world and understandable racial justice and all these issues coming out of COVID and sensitivity. I just, a little less judgmental, a little more inclusive. If you believe in the death penalty, you don't believe in the death penalty doesn't mean I don't believe in you or your right to be part of our party.
This is what's so crazy is if we're just less judgmental, then we'll win. Here's the problem. Was Trump not judgmental? Right? Was Trump not No, he was the most judgmental motherfucker in the planet. He basically verbally beheaded anybody who even slightly disagreed with him. Right? Why aren't you saying we should copy that part? We should be more judgmental. More judgmental, actually stand for something, and people go, oh, that's strong. I want to go in that direction. I kind of agree with that, and that's strong. I'm going to go in that direction. This is what I'm saying. I don't know what he's doing. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's trying to do everything at once.
If you believe in choice, but you believe in late-term abortion, you have an issue. I'm not going to deny that.
Well, okay, again, here we go. So he's bringing up, we should allow people who disagree on abortion and stuff. At the exact moment where, Missouri or Kansas or both they had direct votes on whether or not they would have abortion legal in the state, and it passed overwhelmingly, like just ridiculous numbers. So even in the deepest red states, abortion rights pass. And instead of having Democrats point that out and go, we're on the winning side of this issue. What the fuck? No, I'm not going to cave to the side that has fewer people that support it and is also just wrong. Of course I'm not going to do that. Instead of doing that, he's doing, we welcome everybody and hold hands and sing Kumbaya and it'll work out. Wrong. No, we're not doing this. I'm not doing this. I welcome people into the tent who are in favor of the illegal, psychotic, fascist war of aggression against Venezuela where we're trying to steal their oil. No, I don't welcome them. I don't welcome them. I don't welcome the warmongers. I don't welcome the billionaires unless they're fucking class traitors. Okay? That's the bottom line. I'm sorry. It's over. It's done. We're not playing this game anymore. We're not playing this game anymore. The billionaires and the fascists and the warmongers are not welcomed. The only ones that could, in theory, be welcomed is if a billionaire is a total fucking class traitor. That's it.
If you have a more moderate construct as it relates to, more worker-centered policies or a more liberal one, we shouldn't be excluding. You don't believe in the minimum wage, but you believe in an income tax credit. Which one are you? Are you Democrat? Are you a corporate mob?
Are you kidding me? So now you're saying it's okay. Raising the minimum wage is like an 80 to 90% issue among the public. And it's probably nearing 100% of Democratic voters want to raise the minimum wage. And you're saying you would accept somebody in the tent who doesn't want to raise the minimum wage? See, this is the problem with the Democratic Party. What do you believe in, Gavin Newsom? Make a fucking case for something. I make a case for both things and all things and things that contradict itself simultaneously. That makes no sense.
I don't think our party needs to knit back together that coalition that helped build the world's great middle class. And so that's I don't want to exclude the Manchins or the Mamdanis.
Well, then, like I said, you're going to get nothing done ever. This is why this toothless, nutless bullshit is the problem. No, it's time to lead with strength, and it's time to actually stand for something, and we'll build it, and they will come, right? And this like defeatism of like, the best we can ever do in some states is just a Manchin-style Democrat. That's bullshit. Manchin was a total fucking corporate ghoul and a total sellout to Wall Street. You think in West Virginia, they're going, I need my representatives to sell out to Wall Street. That's what I want. No, that's not what it's unbelievable how cucked this mindset is.
That the Manchin to Mamdani line made me think a bit about is what would it mean for the people who represent the Democratic Party nationally to seem like they simultaneously respected Joe Manchin and Zoran Mamdani?
See, Ezra's making a good point here. How would people view a party that welcomes both? It's a party that there's no there. There's no core there.
Chuck Schumer did not endorse Zoran Mamdani, for instance. Right. And I understand that Schumer probably has his disagreements. On the other side, the sort of people who might have seen Manchin, who, for all of my disagreements with him, and there were many, guy was a genuine Democratic most valuable player, right? Holding a seat no one else could have held.
No one could have held.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's the defeatist bullshit. That's not true. I don't buy that. Joe Manchin voted 50% of the time with Republicans. And according to Ezra Klein and Gavin Newsom, they're saying, well, it's the best we could do in some of these states. Or maybe you try more and you'd be surprised at what we can get, right? We just had a DSA candidate come within fucking 10 points of winning in a Trump plus 22 district. Maybe there are better things that are possible. When FDR held 80% of the House and 80% of the Senate and won 4 elections for president, I bet these idiots, these eggheads would have thought, no way a Democrat can do that. Well, he did that because he fucking delivered for people. You'd be surprised at what you can get done.
That gave Democrats that 50-50
Drove me crazy too. I mean, we all were doing that.
That allowed Kamala Harris to break ties and pass the Inflation Reduction Act, right? Like Joe Manchin was the most valuable member of the Senate for Democrats.
But also drove us mad.
He was the most obstructionist member.
Drove us mad. But that question of how does respect exist across disagreement at a time when I think social media and other things, algorithmic media, create a lot of incentive for line drawing.
That's right.
A lot of incentive for saying, you're out, right? And, and drawing our circles ever smaller.
I've spent my life being on the outs and then back in, on the out, back in. I don't begrudge other people's success. I don't think you can be pro-job and anti-business. Same time I say businesses can't thrive in a world that's failing. And so who are you? You support a progressive tax but not a wealth tax, or then you're a corporate Democrat. So you're right. And you're right. The fine lines that are being divided online and these sort of filter bubbles that we're in only reinforce those lines. And of course, that's what you're going to have an open primary. You're going to have 25 candidates for president. My gosh, you're going to see that on display on 2 gigantic stadium stages because you can't even fill it on one. And every flavor of the party is going to be represented, from the Democratic Socialists, which are just the old progressives in my town, or Green Party folks back when I was mayor of San Francisco, very familiar, and the more moderate voices that, quote unquote, can win those 7 swing states. And so, we'll work. We have to work through all these. But again, with an open hand, not a closed fist, a little less judgment, and a little bit of appreciation that this party, we got crushed in the last election.
No, but what about the last special elections? Now we're fucking winning all over the place. Why? Because MAGA is collapsing under its own weight and its own stupidity and its own sadism. Don't pretend he just goes back to 2024. That's not the most recent evidence we have. Trump's at 35% approval rating. Why are you still doing this self-flagellating bullshit?
Donald Trump. It was Trump. I just remind us who beat us. We need to find common ground.
Nothing has ever been more incorrect than this. If you're keeping track, here's what Trump has referred to us as. The enemy within: scum, terrorists, vermin, radical, lunatics, demonic, evil, fascist, Marxist, communist, garbage, the enemy of the people, treasonous, animals, degenerates, Jew haters, lowlives. That's how he talks about us. And Gavin's reaction, oh yeah, I guess we need to find common ground. No, we don't. We need to win on our own terms and make our own case. Fucking punch him back in the face. Jesus Christ, this fucking self-flagellating bullshit. I can't take it. I can't take it. So Trump sitting in the White House after saying all that stuff about us, maybe we should start saying shit like that about them, because at least when we say it about them, it's actually true. It's actually true. It's actually accurate. By the way, he went on in this podcast to Pearl Clutch, like, Trump is calling people piggy, and he's saying mean things about people, and we can't have a president that says that. Didn't we do this in 2016 and 2020? Where it was like, sir, how dare you? It's beneath the dignity of the Oval Office. It's time for you to punch him back in the face. It's time for you to call him a fat war criminal pedophile. That's what you have to do. And so why Gavin Newsom is pissing me off is because he's trying to have his cake and eat it too. He's trying to do both things at the same time. That's what he's doing. So he's trying to do this thing where it's like, oh, I'm the middle ground guy and the bipartisan guy and the big tent guy, but also I'm the guy who's going to fucking tweet burns against Trump and MAGA online all day with his comms account. And it's like, you got to pick a lane, bro. You can't do both of those things. That's bullshit. It contradicts itself, and you know it contradicts itself, but he still has those Democratic old guard instincts, and that's the problem. So, look, I think when push comes to shove as president, he would side more with capital than he would with the people, because he's an old party politician. That's what he is. That's where all this bullshit comes from. All this nonsense comes from. He hasn't even fully internalized how his communications account acts. That's how he should be acting. That's how he should feel, but he doesn't. And so we can do better than him. He's the favorite for 2028, but we can do better than him because, we can't just, the first person who looks like they're fighting, we can't just go, that's the one. No, it's got to be, you got to match the fighting ability with actual policy chops and representing the people and not the donors. And half the time he fights, but the other half the time is this bullshit, and he's always represented the donors. Let me be clear. Any Democrat is better than any Republican by far. And as much shit as I'm giving Manchin, it's way better that he was in that seat than any Republican. Of course. But we can do better. We can do better. Especially in this age, we can do better. We don't have to take this mealy-mouthed garbage anymore. It's time to grow out of this. All right, guys. That's the show, y'all. I love y'all very much, man. You guys know the drill. Everybody subscribe to the channel. Support the show on Patreon. Tip with that thanks button on YouTube. Go sign up for Crystal Kyle and Friends on Substack. And go watch Corrin's World and sub to Corrin's World. We're live tonight, y'all. 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. You don't want to miss it. I'll see y'all there. Peace. Hey, y'all. Do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.